name is Jeffrey Kaplan. I'm one of the lead game designers on World of Warcraft.
My name is Jay Allen Brack, and I'm the lead producer for World of Warcraft.
Northrend is the northern continent on the planet of Azeroth. As far as size goes, it's roughly the size of Outland, but bigger. So it's not quite Eastern Kingdoms or Kalimdor size, but it's a pretty large landmass. Outland had about 7 zones in it of exterior questing content, not to mention all of the dungeons, but Northrend's even bigger than that. So a lot of stuff for players to explore. It was really important for us to put a lot of variety into Northrend. Players had seen the continent in Frozen Throne and Warcraft 3 and came to know it as the snowy ice lands to the north, which is awesome. I mean, that's at its core what it is. There's Icecrown Glacier, which is super snowy, very cold zone. But we felt like it was really important to feature a variety of environments. Over the years, we've come to a philosophy, which is that environment change is really a reward for players, and it also keeps the play experience from feeling too oppressive, like you're always doing the same thing or in the same environment. So we went out of our way to make zones feel different from one another. Grizzly Hills kind of feels like the redwood forest. Sholazar Basin is tropical and has a jungle feel to it almost, whereas Howling Fjord feels almost more like Iceland. And then you've got zones like Dragonblight and Storm Peaks that are very snowy and more traditional like players would expect.
Dungeons are a really big part of WoW's success, really big part of its fun, frankly, and that we really wanted to focus on short play sessions in order for people to have a good time quickly. So the idea that we're going forward with is that each dungeon should target about an hour. There are no 10-man raids or 25-man raids anymore. There are just raids, and they have a 25-person mode as well as a 10-person mode, and that'll be true for all the raids in Wrath of the Lich. We really like the idea of giving you a sense of place, and if you can fly out of the gate, then you really lose that sense of place, you really lose that sense of terrain, of what it means to be in an actual area, and you just beeline directly there. So when you get to Northrend, you won't be able to use your flying mount. What we decided is that at level 77, you'll complete either a quest or you'll have some gold sync in order to enable your flying mount.
A lot of new races that we're introducing to Northrend as part of the Wrath of the Lich King. Some good, some bad, some a little bit of both. I think it's important to talk about those. In the forefront are a race of big Viking, barbarian-like guys known as the Vrykul. And what these guys were is almost like the progenitors of the human race in Warcraft lore. They were part of the Titans' early plans for creating the race that ultimately became the humans. But the Vrykul have sort of turned, and they've turned slightly evil. Arthas is trying to get as many people as he can into his Scourge army and sort of bend their will towards his. And the Vrykul not only recognize this, but they accept it and want to join up with Arthas. Not all of the new races are strictly evil, though. We're also going to introduce the Tuskar, which are a friendly, nomadic race of fishermen who live by the sea or anywhere where there's water, basically. They're a lighter, more accessible race to new players. We'll also be introducing the Wolvar, which are Wolverine people. They're living in Sholazar Basin, Howling Fjord, Grizzly Hills. There's an evolution to the Murlocs known as the Oracles, and they're a very complicated race of Murloc, both good and bad at the same time. And in Sholazar Basin, we actually give you a choice of siding with the Wolvar or siding with the Murloc oracles and sort of develop their races on their own.
One of the big differences between this game and Burning Crusade that is kind of a lesson from Burning Crusade is, you're going to get to interact with Arthas right out of the gate. Most players never actually got to see Illidan unless they actually were in kind of a big guild that could go and start making attempts on him. Arthas is you're going to see it in the very first zone. There'll be some kind of quest that leads you to interact with Arthas in some way. And there's going to be threads of the Arthas storyline throughout the entire level up experience.
And we've tried to put as many of these all over the game as possible, and not just as random occurrences, but as driving moments of the storyline where you as the hero, the player, are interacting with our arch villain in more than just an environment where you're trying to kill him and take his loot.